Joining me today, I have one of the mayoral candidates of Winnipeg's upcoming election. I have Idris Adelakun. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
We'll start off with a really simple, easy question. I would love to know, why did you decide to run for mayor?
Thank you very much for your question. First and foremost, I decided to run for mayor because I want a city that works for everyone. And when I was thinking about that some month ago, in terms of homelessness, addictions, and mental health, anytime I go to downtown, what I think is I can live in a house, but some people they cannot afford to live in a house. So, and I think we can improve on that. We can do better than that. So it encourages me to step up and say, you know what, we have to do something about this. And not only that, we need to improve our infrastructure, business. We need to bring in more investors to our city. I could remember when I graduated from the University of Manitoba, a lot of my friends, they left the province. They couldn't find, professional jobs. So I figured out that we need to improve on other areas in terms of business and environment. So, and I was able to put all this together. And I just feel like, you know what? Since I have all the attributes as a professional engineer with my PhD in leadership, I should be able to apply my skills to move our city to an enviable height.
You brought up a ton of great topics, which is what we're going to talk about today. So, people in Winnipeg overwhelmingly list homelessness and poverty at the top of their issues for this election. How do you plan to help people experiencing homelessness in the city?
Thank you very much for that question, and I'm passionate about that. So, in terms of homelessness, the first thing I want to do is to get 800 housing units for homeless people. And all those 800 housing units is going to be multi-faceted housing unit. What I mean by that is we are going to come up with new structures, but we are going to use some existing structures as well around downtown. We'll look for some houses that have not been used for a while. We'll negotiate, with those people that own that house. And there are some spaces as well in downtown whereby we have to utilize as well for this project. So I can show you something. I believe I have a model, so I'm not just talking about housing. So I've been working with the builders, I've been working with the engineers. We came up with a model, and we can actually, design and come up with a cheap solution, for homeless people. And one thing I've already done is to also try to know, okay, how much is it going to cost? How can we do this, as soon as possible? But before we can do that, there is a need for us to also modify our bylaws. We have to change how we do things if we really want to improve. So we can't continue to do the way we've been doing things. So when I become mayor, my first assignment is to make sure that we get that one on track. And we have to get funding from the federal, from the province, from the city, from Winnipeggers, everyone. We have to do it together. It's not something that only one person can do. But the question I've been asking is, what is going to happen in fall? It's going to get colder again. So where are we going to put them? Because I can't do that this year. So one thing I want to do is to expand on the 24-hour safe space, starting from fall when I become the next mayor, because we have to start thinking about our friends, because they are like me. The same blood that flows through my vein flows through their vein. So I'm passionate about that, and I can assure Winnipeggers, if you elect me as your mayor, the things of homelessness will be things of the past.
Hmm. Crime is also right at the top of people's list. What needs to be done to reduce crime here in Winnipeg?
Yes, as I've already mentioned, there are some underlying issues that is associated with the crime. When you look at current situation right now, my plan in terms of crime prevention strategy is to allow police to, focus more on what is important rather than just maybe stay on some sport. For example, I know like photo radar is important, but we need to make use of our police officer. We don't have enough right now. And when I look at the projection, what happened in September, we have about 26% of more maybe life-threatening issues in 2022 only. And that is something that we have to focus more on right now. So my plan is to make sure that I involve all those cadets, like cadets more on, just to patrol more. They are going to work more with police. It has to be a collaborative effort. For example, if you look at the transit, it's not that safe, right? So one of the things is to make sure that supervisors, cadets, and the police officer, they have to work together as a team. So we have to free up our police officer for those activities that are more important to Winnipeggers. Then they will have more time to be able to help us to be able to curb crime. But I have to be honest with you, we have to also address all those underlying issues as homelessness, addictions, and mental, because you have to do it at the same time. And that's what is going to really help us. So we have to focus, our attention on what is important, and it to enable us to be able to lower our crime rate as well in the city. I will give you one example. Let's assume that maybe around a transit area, you figure out that, okay, somebody is disturbing people, being violent, and you just release the person back to the city. So what is going to happen? The person will go to another place and cause another issue. You call the police, right? But if we don't address all those underlying issues, it will be very difficult for us to be able to, control crime. So we need to do all those stuff at the same time, but we need to utilize our police officers effectively.
A lot of top issues might involve provincial and federal jurisdiction. How do you plan to improve relationships with other governments?
Thank you very much. I have to be honest with you because I've told you already, I had a PhD in leadership, and my concentration is organizational management. What do you expect from me? Collaboration. This is the area where I'm good at. And it's one of the reasons why I feel like, I'm the best candidate for this job. I know how to collaborate, how to work together, because we need to think about it. This is our city. If it's good for the city, it will be good for the province. So there is a need for me to engage with them. Let them understand where I'm coming from. We have to put all those partisan politics aside and focus on what is important to Winnipeggers. So what I'm going to do is to ensure that I have effective communication with them and let them understand the reason why we have to do all those projects. And I believe that everyone will be on the same board.
This spring especially highlighted the city's crumbling road infrastructure. How do you plan to address this?
Thank you very much for that question. And it's one of the things I was talking to somebody yesterday. The first thing is there is a need for us to, prioritize on what we do. I will start with the budget because I want to change the culture, but you can't just change culture once, like you have to do it gradually. Currently, we have a, traditional increment approach to I'm talking about the budget, but I'm going to change that one to priority-based budgeting. We are going to focus on what is important, right? When you look at our roads right now, we do it every year. My own philosophy as a professional engineer, if you're able to do something very well once, right, why do we have to do it every year? And I see there are some roads we do it like this year, you do it the same. Like, why do we have to do this road again this year? Although it's part of the budget, but there is a need for us to change how we do things, approach. So the first thing is to make sure that we do the project very well in the first instance, right? The second thing is, are we focusing on those areas that are very important? Right? And the third approach from my own perspective, I have to supervise. I will be a mayor that will be on the street, not mayor that will sit in the office. I'm telling you the truth. I still have the energy. I'm young. So what I'm thinking is we need to supervise all those projects and you need to work with all those contractors. They need to sign some kind of agreement, and because I see even traffic jam, a lot of stuff, we do things in a rush from my own perspective at times, but we have to do it well. But we need to work together. My own philosophy, I don't blame anyone, but I like us to come together and say, what is important for us? How can we do things better? I'm not a kind of guy that will point finger, but I'm a kind of guy that say, let's do it together. Let's work together and achieve, a common goal. But I think I see an opportunity for an improvement on that one. And then another thing is, I know we have some other areas we have to look at, but I won't be able to mention all those things right now. But the point is, I just believe that we have to come together, work with all those, contractors, make sure that we improve on how we do things. And I will be the one to even go out and supervise. When people see me out there, you know what, they will know this guy really mean business. It's not only about just do the road for me and I will just accept it that way. I have to really see the quality, of what the people are going to do for me.
So, we talked about a lot of different things, and you've got these ambitions. Where is the money going to come from to accomplish what you hope to do?
Thank you very much. If you look at my plan, It is so simple. I only promise what I can do because I know my word is my bond. I'll be honest with you. In terms of the homelessness, addictions, and mental health, as I already mentioned, I've done my research. The funding is coming from the city, part of it. Part of it is going to come from the province, the federal. We can tap from the federal funding. And I'm going to raise some fund. This is a must. We have to do this from my own perspective. We are going to raise some fund, and I've been talking to people, different ideas, how we are going to raise funds, right? Even Winnipeggers, they have to come together. This is something that it has to be done. It has to be a collective effort. So that's my strategy in terms of homelessness, addictions, and mental health. When we start talking to those people that have some houses around downtown, maybe they've already abandoned those houses for a long period of time, we are going to negotiate. When they see the vision, they would like to join. Even some of them will tell us, we give it to you free. We can't force anyone. My own style of leadership is all about engage people. Let them see the vision. Let us see where we want the city to be in the next 10 years to this time. And I believe that everyone will be on the same page.
Where can people find out more about your platform?
Well, if you look at idrisformayor.com, idrisformayor.com, you will find my platform on the home page as well as under the platform, and you can go through it. And if you have any question for me, and I'll be able to answer. And I want to say something here to Winnipeggers. If you are looking for transparency, honesty, accountability, this is the guy. And the reason why I'm saying this, if you look at my profile, you will see as a professional engineer, we don't just do things anyhow. We need to understand why we are doing it. Business case, I'm a certified project manager too, right? So if you look at it, a project manager, a professional engineer, PhD in leadership, and I've been working with teams, managing resources, managing people. What do you expect from me when I become the next mayor? I will do it very well.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And we are going to let people know what you are all about. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate